All right. So, good afternoon. This is Jordan Highsmith, founder of Female Athletes Rock, here with another, episode of Life After Sports. And this week I have a very special guest with me, and it just so happens to be my sister. So,
Hi, everyone.
go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm Jordan Highsmith. I am a former athlete. I ran track at Samford University and a little bit at Oklahoma State before I transferred. And I currently work in news. I work at CBS 42 News in Birmingham, Alabama. And at the news station, I am a digital reporter / producer. So that's me.
Okay. So, what events did you do, and what made you choose track and field? Because I know you did soccer too when you were younger.
So, I actually started running track just because, like, my parents put my brother in it, and then you got both kids out there, so I started. But I actually really fell in love with it, and I don't know why. I honestly think it's just one of those things that I was naturally good at as a little kid, like when you're just running and get first or something.
Right.
And it was fun to me, so I stayed at it. It was fun to me, so I stayed at it. I also did play soccer. I loved soccer. Soccer was so fun. I think I was better at soccer than I was track. I don't know. I chose track though because I felt like I felt like I was cheating on track basically with soccer. And
Right.
like if I would have chose soccer over track, I would have felt like I was like disowning my coaches and my team and everything like that. And I'm pretty sure no one cared, but that's how I thought about it. And
yeah, that can come up.
Because I only played soccer to keep me in shape in the fall season when I wasn't running track. And then I happened to be good at it, but track is what prevailed.
So how old were you when you started playing soccer?
I was 9. It was when I lived in Miami because my mom told me she took me to somebody's track practice, and I was like, I don't remember this. Like, in my memory is really good, but she said she took me to somebody's track practice, and I was like, this is not my track team. Like, I don't know these people, these coaches, nothing. And I said I wasn't gonna run track. So my parents were like, well, let's try something else. Let's play soccer. So I started in 3rd, 4th grade, and then I continued to play soccer when I moved back to Texas.
Okay. So what was your high school recruiting process like? You went to school in Texas. So in Texas, everything is different as far as sports is concerned. I think Texas and Florida are about neck and neck when it comes to sports. So talk a little bit about your high school recruiting process.
Gotcha. So in track, not in track, but in high school when I was running track, the recruiting process starts your junior year. And I was really hard on myself about like getting those marks. I was a long jumper and a hurdler. Did a little bit of everything, but those were my main 2: 300 hurdles, 100 hurdles, and long jump. And my junior year was the year I felt like I needed to hit those like big marks and PR to like show off to college coaches, so that when the fall of my senior year started, I could go on visits. So really how it goes is either I received letters in the mail, kind of similar to like how you see like football players receive letters in the mail. I received letters in the mail from different schools, and it included the coach's business card or a number or something that you could call. So you call them and say like, hi, I received this, whatever. I'm interested in your school. Can you tell me a little bit about it, about you, whatever? And that was one way. And then the other way was some coaches just got your number. I don't know what database or how, or if they got it from like my track coach in school or what, I don't know. But some coaches just called and would be like, hi, this is so-and-so from this school. I had a couple like that. And when I would go to the bigger track meets that are at universities where schools would be there, some of the coaches like know who you are, as far as like, they don't know you personally, but they know like you're one of the like top people in your event. They'd come up to you and just talk to you and introduce themselves unofficially.
So what advice would you have for high school students that are currently in their recruiting process or about to start their recruiting process?
As far as advice for like kids in high school and like choosing or figuring out how to do visits, ask as many questions as possible. Go and visit where you're wanted. I feel like a lot of athletes get their dreams shot down a little, or just their self-esteem could be really high, and then they go on this visit to a school where they only offer them a walk-on, not even a scholarship, they just offer them to walk on. And that's very disheartening, and I feel like it makes you feel bad. So I'm not saying don't have a dream school, but I think it's important to have all of your options open, and be open to different schools that you may not have thought of. Because since I went to 2 universities, I can tell you, like, a track team is a track team. Like, you're not going to care if you're at a D3 school or a D1 school. As long as you love your teammates and your coach, it's literally the same experience.
Right. I remember going somewhere and being a highly recruited walk-on. I was like, what does that even mean? It's like, we don't have scholarship money, but you can be a highly recruited walk-on. I was like, no, thank you. I can get scholarship money.
Exactly.
It's not worth it. So you go to Oklahoma State and you transfer. How did that come about, and what feelings did you have during that transition?
I will say it was really hard, but when I was at Oklahoma State, I didn't feel like I was the best athlete that I could be, to put it simple. Like, I didn't feel like I was receiving the correct training. I felt like I was getting great training in the sense of, like, I was in really great shape, but I don't think I was getting the right training for me as an athlete. And I thought about it and said, I don't want my track career to look this way. I tried for 2 years. My high school track coaches, my summer track coaches told me, give it 2 years, because your first year is a transition year. You're leaving high school, you're receiving this college training, you may not be perfect, and then your second year, is when you're supposed to, like, get it, grasp it, soar, really. And I didn't feel like I was being treated the way that I would like. And so I decided, like, I think I want to transfer. When I decided that, I asked my coach and I were having our end of the year evaluation, kind of just the whole, like, I'll see you in the fall talk. And I told her that I wanted to transfer. And she basically said to me, if that's a decision you want to make, let me know so I can give you the paperwork. She didn't, that's really all she said after I said I wanted to transfer. And that kind of solidified that I wanted to transfer, because she didn't fight to keep me, nor did she care to ask why I wanted to transfer either. It was just like, well, if that's what you want to do, I'll get your paperwork. So I started talking to coaches that recruited me out of high school. And I transferred late, like in May. So a lot of coaches had already given out all of their scholarships. Scholarships are given out pretty much in February to May. And it was hard because I didn't want to walk on somewhere, although I know I could have walked on somewhere and, like, proved myself. But I felt like I could get a scholarship somewhere. One of my track coaches heard that I was transferring, and he knew of a coach in Birmingham, Alabama, who still had scholarship money left over. So he put us in contact, and I emailed him all my marks, my high school marks, my college marks, and we started talking. He invited me on a visit and offered me, and here we are.
Right.
So it was a little scary because I didn't have any guidance. Like, everything I did was me. I didn't reach out to any adult, any of my former coaches, my parents. My dad was against me transferring. He's kind of like a figure it out in your where you are and it'll be better, but I didn't want to do that. So everything I did was on my own.
I can see, as still, because in college, even though we're adults, we're classified as adults, that we're not technically adults. So I can see how that transition could have just been, like, tough. And then I know our dad is that guy, like, you need to stay there. So I can see how you probably like, nah, I'm gonna just do this on my own. But you made a great decision because you're still in Birmingham. It turned out to be the place to be. So walk us through your career at Samford and your most memorable events.
Okay. When I transferred to Samford, I felt like I made the right decision because the track team was so close. My friends, I'm still friends with mostly everyone that I ran track with, guys and girls. Like, we were a very tight knit group, and I feel like, it was what I was missing because I went to a high school that was a dynasty of track girls and guys, and like I ran summer track. Like, I'm just used to having that team that's more like a family. So when I got to Samford, it was like that. Also, Samford is a very small school. It's a Christian university of only 4,000 kids. So it's literally like being in high school again. So that transition of being at Oklahoma State and then going to Samford was very shocking. I always tell people that I ended up loving it because, you talk to your professors on like first name basis. Like, these are people with doctorates, and you're like, hey, Sharon, can you help me with my blah, blah, blah paper? And they're just like, yeah, girl. You're really close with your professors when you're at a small school like that. And I really enjoyed it. But some of my like very, fun moments on the track team at Samford include when we won indoor. Samford track is like a dynasty at this point. They've won back-to-back championships, indoor, outdoor. And yeah, they're soaring. It's amazing. So when we won indoor, that was really fun, being able to contribute to something like that. And having some like really strong competition too. It's fun to win. Right. And then another good another good memory that I have is when we lost conference that in outdoor. We only lost by a point. And it really, I feel like we coaches say like every point counts, but like you don't realize that 8th place, that 6th place, it mattered. Yes. And like to see me and all my teammates, like we were so hopeful. It was like, it was sad that we didn't win, but I felt like I really saw how much we all cared in that moment too.
Right.
And I had to run like a bat out of hell in the 800 that year because I needed to place in the pentathlon. So like everybody else kind of got to cruise, and I had to beat a girl by 8 seconds. So, and I don't even know how far 8 seconds is. So I had to run an 800 like my life depended on. And I think I ran my fastest 800 I ever had in my adult life.
Right.
So
did you feel at Oklahoma State you were just a fish in a big pond, and then when you got to Samford it was a lot more personable, you said, with your professors and then on your team and stuff? Because I know at bigger schools it's almost like it's a business when it comes to sports for them. It's not necessarily about the development of the athlete. It's more so, this is your job, get your job done. We'll take care of you. We'll take care of you as long as you get your job done. So I can see how that would prompt somebody to be like, you know what, I'm out, especially when you're used to something different. So you graduate. Did you have a plan for life after college, life after sports?
I did. I always knew from elementary school that I wanted to work in news. I went to a high school that had academies, and I was in the digital media academy where we were making news. Like, I did the same things, of course, on a smaller scale, more time for my deadlines and things like that. I did the same things that I did at my high school that I do in my professional life now. So Hightower High School Digital Media Academy, you really taught me something. It was cool though, because at my high school they took people off the streets, like people who work in news currently, and offered them a teaching job to teach us, how to be like news people.
Right.
So that was fun. But yes, I always knew I wanted to work in news. So when I was at Oklahoma State, they're known as like a journalism school. That was another reason that I chose to go there. It was really sad when I had to leave. Like that was one of the things I was going to miss because I was already close to like my professors. I had taken some major classes my sophomore year. So, having to tell them like, oh, I won't be back, or I had accepted a newspaper job for my junior. That I would have done it my junior year at Oklahoma State, but I had to, write the professor and say I'm not coming back. I always knew I wanted to work in news. When I was at Samford, I almost had to change my major because according to NCAA, by your junior year, you have to be 75% done with your degree. And the way my credits were transferring, I wasn't 75%. And I started crying in a stranger's office when he told me that. I was like, I didn't know what else I want to be in life. I was like, oh, like this is crazy. I've never thought I wanted to be anything else. So, what's it called? So they made a way for me to stay in journalism. So that was great. But I made sure, like I always knew, in order to graduate, we had to do an internship. I'm not going to say it didn't matter what, but I had to get an internship and I had to turn in assignments weekly. It wasn't hard because it's obviously not like supposed to be a test or anything, but I had to basically say like, this is what I did this week. And I had to have my boss at my internship sign off on it and send it in. Like, I don't know if it was weekly or bi-weekly or monthly, but I had something to turn in often. And I had, so I got that internship, and it also kind of solidified that I wanted to work in news because I interned at ABC 13 in Houston, and I got to work and do a lot of different things with news. And the cool thing about interning in news is you get out what you put in. Like you can be an intern in news and say like, I learned nothing because you did nothing. But if you ask and talk to people and say like, hey, can I watch the 5 o'clock news? Or you meet someone, you're like, I want to see what you do today. They're not gonna give you that. They're not coming up to you and saying, hey, do you want to learn about what I do today? Like, no, you have to go physically talk to them and ask them. Say that?
You have to be like a self-starter.
Yes, you have to be a big self-starter in news. And I feel like that's like kind of who I am. What's it called? I enjoyed myself at the internship, learned a lot of things, finished up at Samford, and a girl I had a broadcasting class with was an assignment desk editor at a news station at CBS 42 where I work. She was quitting when she was about to graduate because she got another job. And she was like, hey, I'm quitting. So that's a part-time job that will be open. And another woman that I work with is also quitting at the assignment desk. And they're offering a job for both of those positions. I interned at the assignment desk when I interned at 13. So I was like, I'll apply for it. Like I'll when you're graduating, they tell you to apply for like 5 jobs or something. Nobody really does it. I don't know. I didn't do it until that my classmate said to me that those positions were open. I applied for it not thinking I would get the job. I applied for it just to say basically that I applied for it.
Right.
And my boss at the time, the person who became my boss, she called me back and was like, hey, I just want to let you know, I'm in the middle of choosing candidates. I'll let you know if you get it or if you don't. It took her I want to say 2 months to tell me, and I was just hanging out in Houston, living my best life for that summer. She called me and said I got the job, and I started the next week. I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna come back from Houston and work. So since I've been at CBS 42, I've had 3 different positions. I started as an assignment editor. Then I became a digital content producer, writing web stories. And now I'm also a reporter. So, yeah,
That's fun. So you're living your dream after college.
I've told someone before that, I've basically done everything that I wanted to do in life. Like I wanted to go to college for track. College mattered to me. I got to go to a school that I really wanted to go to and ran track, and then I transferred, and I ended up making amazing friends and memories when I was at Samford. So I got 2-for-1 there. And then I work in news, and that's what I've always wanted to do. So
that's awesome. So I know you said internships are a way for people to get into journalism and news. What advice would you have for someone that's looking to enter that field?
In news, I would say that you should definitely get an internship. And when you get that internship, it's important to work really hard, because I've seen a lot of people get hired at the news station that they intern at where they're barely qualified. But because you intern there and they know how hard of a worker you are, they know that you'll catch up. You'll get speed, you know. So, you know, working hard at your internship is really important. And then also making those connections, like talking to different people. It's crazy, especially in news, how many people have worked in so many different places. Know so many people. You could become good friends with, you know, a producer or an anchor or the assistant news director or news director, and they're like, "Where are you from? You said you wanted to work in Denver. Oh, I had a former so-and-so who works in Denver. I can put you in contact with them." You just never know who you're talking to and how it really is.
Networking.
And I feel like people hear networking and it sounds like it's hard. It's really just speaking and saying hi and like getting to know someone. That's what networking is.
Right. Like, hey, let's go for coffee, figuring out what they like, what you like, and stuff like that. So what advice do you have for athletes that are coming out of college? In COVID world, it's a little different, but everybody's going to be graduating soon. So what advice do you have for those athletes?
I feel like athletes who are coming out of college and it's the middle of COVID. I actually kind of also think like my story, it seems very simple. Like, I graduated, got a job, did everything I was supposed to do. My roommate also ran track with me. Her name's Nia, and she didn't have the smooth experience that I had. I feel like it's important to like not get down on yourself and never stop applying for jobs. Like, just because you didn't get the first 3 or 6 doesn't mean that the next 6 are going to shoot you down as well. I think it's really important to, never stop applying for jobs.
Kobe.
Yes, my dog is barking. I don't know who he's talking to, but he's barking. Yeah. Never stop applying for jobs and always reach back out to your professors. Like, you can reach back out to like your school and like teachers, like they can help you.
Right.
So it's also important to build that relationship while you're in school, because your school where you graduated from, they want you to get a job. They want to be able to say, students left here and got a job. They want to help you. So, never be afraid to reach back out to them. I have a couple of professors that I talk to still, because they've been in my shoes before. And if I ever need anything, I can just be like, we're not best friends. Like, I don't, call them on Christmas or anything, but it's just good to have that relationship.
Right. I think that's important because for us as athletes, we don't really get to make those connections on campus, just because it's like we're ripping and running. Like, I have to go to weights this morning. I'm coming straight to class. I have to leave your class so early because I need to make it back to the other side of campus for practice. So we don't get to make those relationships. And I think I've been preaching that to athletes, like, network, get on your campus and network. Never be too proud or just assume that people are going to know who you are. Because I've had professors like, oh, you play sports? I don't really watch sports. I don't pay attention to sports. Oh, okay. Well, yeah. You have to make the connection. So that's very important. What was it like adjusting to life after college? I know we talk often because that whole aspect of like having to work out and not having to tell anybody telling you need to work out. Like, I remember after I graduated, I was like, I'm not going to the gym. I'm not doing that. Somebody told me to do that for like the last 8 years of my life. I refused to. I don't want nobody yelling at me.
Yes. So, life after sports. I always knew that it would be tough because I would tell people the only reason I had abs or like a slim waist when I was running track was because I ran track. Like I
Right.
knew that it wasn't forever. I
Right.
knew it. I knew that way ahead of time,
Uh-huh.
and I was mentally prepared. But life after sports, or like life after being a top athlete, not even just like a regular, high school athlete.
Right.
Life after being a track athlete in college is tough because you want to be who you used to be without putting in the work that you used to put in.
Right.
College athletes work out twice a day mostly. Like if you have weights and you work and then you run, or
Yeah.
your jump practice or whatever it is that you're doing, like your
Yep.
specialty, like you work out 1 to 2 times a day for like sometimes 6 days a week. And
Mm-hmm.
no person wants to do that on their own unless they find this new love for working out,
Mm-hmm.
which a lot of people don't after running
Right.
after sport.
After being a competitive athlete for so long, it's like I'll do a little bit, but I'm not about to do much. Like people want to be in fitness competitions. I'm like, why do you want to do
Why
that
do
for
you want to do
fun?
that? I don't want to do that.
That's not gratifying.
Yes, like I used to, have to get my hair done a certain way because I ran track. I had to skip eating a burger, not because of, I tell people I wouldn't skip the burger because of what it would do to my body as far as like gaining weight or whatever. I'm thinking about how I have to run. You
Right.
can't run with that in your stomach, or even like
Right.
if it's been past 30 minutes, like you will know you ate a burger.
Right. Right.
If you run and have practice 3 hours later, you'll be like, oh, I shouldn't ate that. Like I feel
Right.
horrible at practice. So life after running track, I feel like I really try to find the balance. I've been really preaching lately about self-esteem, and like how a lot of girls, and including myself, you constantly compare yourself to your college body, and it's
Right.
like it's not fair to you to do that because we're not there anymore.
Right.
New goals, new body, new everything, because that was then, this is now. And I feel like finding that healthy relationship with food and working out and working and sleeping, like it's just different, you know?
Social life. What about so when you were in college, did you feel like you had to maintain a certain body image or to be a track athlete?
I did. I felt like I needed to look like a track girl at
Mm-hmm.
any point that had a uniform on. Like I needed to have like a slim waist, nice legs, nice arms, strong back. Like I needed to look like when I put my uniform on, or if I'm walking somewhere and someone says, "You're on track," like I need that. Like I needed that
Right.
affirmation of like knowing that I look like a track girl.
Right.
And I don't know if that's healthy or not, but it was just something, because I think it's because when you're young and you always run track, and like you look up to those track people and professionals, and you see it, you want to be like that. Like
Right.
you would know Sonia Richards as an athlete when she's walking down the street. You would see it in
Absolutely.
Alice and Felix. Like that's what I wanted to be. Like I was like, I want when people look at me to know that I'm a track athlete and that I'm good, and they can see it, you know?
Right.
Now I
Well,
don't have to look that way, but
you don't have to do that. But I can remember like even when I finished college, there was I was like, I don't even feel or look like a former athlete. So that was one of the reasons why I started working out again, because I was like, I don't look like, I don't want to be one of those people you can't tell you
when they say, really?
you did what? So I'm like, yeah, that was another reason like I started working out extremely hard, because I was like, I don't look like what a former athlete would look like. So body image for women in sports is a big thing, and I know some people struggle with it, and we'll have another conversation about that another day. Mm-hmm. So what did sports teach you about life?
I think one of the biggest takeaways that I take from sports is that like pain is so temporary. Mm-hmm. I always would joke that like it's so funny how a 400 is so hard, but it's only a minute. It's 1 minute. Like you warm something up in the microwave for 1 minute. And
that's good. Like I never thought about that. Like how 400 runners, like, they complain and the kids hate it, but it's literally a minute.
It's
But
a
the
minute.
to get to that minute
Oh,
is
it's hard.
yeah.
But you know, I feel like it taught me that like pain is temporary, and you know, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Things do get better. And it also taught me that like, and I feel like this is more for like when you see athletes training, I watched like all athletes inspired me when I ran track.
Mhm.
Like basketball athletes, you know, football athletes, track athletes, everybody inspired me because I thought it was very important to know that like everybody hurts. You know,
Mhm.
everybody trains and exerts themselves and is tired. And like
Mhm.
Sonia Richards falls out after track practice. Like I used to be like, wow, like they feel what I feel too, which
Right.
means I can be just as good. I can, you know, do whatever I need to do to be the best. And it also like, as far as like comparing it to like life, it shows you that like everyone has hardships.
Mhm.
And everyone goes through something. Everyone has obstacles. Everyone has a story. And I feel like I would constantly think about that when thinking about like track and pain and life. Like
Right.
everybody has their pain, you know?
Right. So I'm going off course a little bit. Did you ever feel like any pressure on you as an athlete, being that who our dad was and who our brother is? Did you ever feel that pressure from
I
other
feel
people?
like I did, but I always felt like I was a better athlete than everybody. I feel like I feel like they should have felt pressure from me. Like, but
Right.
um, I feel like I didn't necessarily have the pressure from my dad. I probably cared a little bit too much of what others thought about me.
Mhm.
Um, Mostly because I was like a childhood star in track.
Mhm.
Like when I was 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, whatever, all those ages, when I stepped on the track, when I stepped on a runway for long jump, everyone kind of knew they were getting second place. And
Right.
I feel like my dad didn't have like he didn't have to pressure me about anything because
Mhm.
it was on me. But
Right.
once I got older, I did feel like I needed to be a certain like I needed to be good enough that people are like, oh, well, it makes sense that you're fast because you're Alonzo Highsmith's daughter. You know, like I felt that pressure. It wasn't from him. It was more so like I don't want people to look at me and be like, how are you Alonzo Highsmith's daughter and you suck at sports?
That's like
That's the
Michael
pressure that I
Jordan
felt.
plays basketball. I used to be like, why does he suck so bad? Like his dad is amazing, but I think for me too, it was just like I didn't want people to be like, oh, his daughter sucks, or
Like
to
that's her dad, but she's not that good. Like I just never
yeah.
wanted to hear that.
I think that would be an embarrassment.
Mm-hmm. That's more embarrassing than like I felt than anything. If I could be embarrassed about something. And then
Right.
the other thing is, growing up in Houston, I ran up with a lot of former athletes' kids.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so there were other, you know, girls like me and who were fast, and like their dad was a former
Right.
NBA player. There's this other family where everyone's an athlete, and like both of the parents went to Texas Tech and
Oh wow.
ran track and played football, and their kids are like super fast and really great at sports. Like
Uh-huh.
I feel like it was almost like a competition of whose professional kid is the best.
Uh-huh. That's dope. That's dope. So, what would you say has been the biggest contributor to your success um, in life after sports?
Um, I often credit my coaches that I've
Mhm.
had over the years for like making me who I am. I've had really, really great coaches, and it's so important to me that like other young athletes have that experience that I have. I do not like horrible coaches.
Right.
I despise it. I hate it. Like, don't coach if you're just going to be out here blowing whistles, okay? Because a coach should have a relationship with their athletes, whether they're 6 years old or 16. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I had some great coaches when I was really young,
Mm-hmm.
and they really taught me a lot, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like if they weren't in my life, I don't feel like my experience with track would be the same. I
Right.
don't like I give them a lot of credit for like making me who I am. And I feel like, you know, they probably don't feel like they did that much, but that's how they always act. They know they did that.
I think coaching is the biggest key to a kid's success, because you spend so much, like you spend a lot of time with your parents, but the level, the relationship is different. As a coach, you have such a major impact. You can either make or break a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And it's some kids now that hate sports because, not because they weren't good at it, because their coach sucked.
Mm-hmm.
And the coach was not a good coach. So you just out here blowing whistles. That's why I say everybody can't coach.
No, everybody can't coach. And like, I think because I knew what great coaching was, when I encountered a coach, a bad coach, I knew it was never me. Like I just knew. And like oh my gosh, Toby. I knew it was never me whenever I encountered a bad coach. Like I would be like, oh no, it's this person, because I'm coaching. I like to work hard. I enjoy, you know, constructive criticism. I want to be better. As a kid, when I was 7 and 8 years old, I used to ask my coach, why are we doing this? But it was never because I didn't want to. It's because I wanted to know, like, how is this making me better?
What's the benefit, right?
So like, why are we doing this 10 times? I want to know. I'm going to still do it. I don't have an attitude. I just want to know.
I just want to know. I need to know why we're doing this. So I know you do a lot of things outside of work. I always tell people, like, my sister's the fashionista of the family. She dresses everybody. So tell us about the other interests and hobbies you have, and those that you found after you got out of sports.
Okay. Well, when I was, I've always had like loved fashion, but I feel like it really jumped while I was running track at Samford. I also got a job at BCBG, and I kind of stumbled on that job. Really, I walked in when I first moved to Birmingham. I was in this like shopping town center that we have here, and I walked in just kind of looking. I knew I could not afford anything in there, but their clothes are cute, you know, $300 sweaters and $400 dresses, you know, $100 tops, like whatever. Right. So I'm just looking, and like the manager and the other young lady working, like looked at me, and then they came up to me, asked if I was looking for a job. And I was just like, actually, yes, I am. Excuse me. So, started working at BCBG where I had to dress people. Like girls would walk in needing homecoming dresses. College girls would come in looking for like date party, like sorority event outfits. There were somebody going to a concert or a dinner date with their boyfriend, husband, and I had to dress these people. Like I'm a personal shopper. Basically, like I worked there, but I also had like clients and was shopping for people, and you know, putting stuff together to help them put this outfit together. I think that's when my love for fashion grew more, because I was constantly, you know, in that world. And that sparked the idea to create a blog where I blogged about, well, I still blog, but it's calmed down a little bit just because working and all that is just a lot. But I started a blog, and most of my blogs would be about, you know, fashion. Most of my posts would be about like, you know, cleaning your closet, or how to make a boring outfit cute, or like just taking things in your closet and re-wearing them to make it high fashion and things like that. So that's my love for fashion. And then another, you know, hobby or dream that I've always had includes like film writing. And I was about to graduate, and my good friend on the track team met a movie producer while he was working. And like he just started talking to her while she was shopping in North Face, and she told him that she was in Birmingham working on a film, and he said, oh, me and my friend are interested in like, you know, film, and we want to, you know, get into that world. And she said, oh, I'm intern, like come work on the set. So I worked on a film set for 2 weeks. And it was hard, I think. And like the people told me this, I guess at that time, though I had never experienced it, so I didn't know. You lose weight working on a film set, and you're not doing anything but like walking around and like moving stuff and putting things together, breaking it down, putting it back together, breaking it down. Like walking around, standing. There's no sitting. Like yeah. So I think I lost like probably 10 pounds while I was working on this film for 2 weeks. That was really fun and definitely something that I like want to, continue working with in the future.
Right.
Never know what's gonna happen. So yeah, that's really it. Film writing, like I want to write movies, and fashion are kind of like my thing.
Right. You're pretty awesome. I'm not just saying that because you're my sister. But it has been a pleasure to have you. I thank you so much for taking the time today. I know it's your off day, so you resting and getting ready to go back to work for the weekend. So tell us how we can, well, not we, but our viewers can find you on the internet and follow you.
Yes. Okay. So I have a professional Facebook that I post news on, and any news updates that I contribute to. It's just Jordan Highsmith, and then I'm on Twitter as Life of Jordy, LIFEOFJORDIE, and then that's my same for Instagram, and that's really it. I'm like, wait, is there another one? No. But yes, on Twitter and Instagram as Life of Jordy, and you can find me on Facebook. And I tweet a lot. So
yeah, you're actually one of my most entertaining tweeters. Is that what it's called? Twitterer.
I will not be engaging in any fleets. So if you want to see my face, you gotta go to Instagram. It's just way too much to catch. It's just too much. And like I used to TikTok, but not anymore. I think I was like a peak pandemic TikToker. I'm not really into it anymore.
That's so funny. Well, Jordan, it has been a pleasure. I am so proud of you, and I love you so much. You are amazing. I tell you often. But if you'd like to follow Jordan, follow her at Life of Jordy. And thank you for sharing your life after sports. I'll talk to you later.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Bye.
Bye.